Good afternoon and welcome back to our news bulletin. I'm Salia Stremska. And we start with this year's most devastating Russian attack. Last night, 2 ballistic missiles struck the city center of Sumy, killing 34 people, including children, and injuring 119 others. As residents honored the victims, another assault occurred on Monday with a drone strike hitting a parking lot in the city. We have footage of barista Diana Kaitova speaking to a journalist about 2 colleagues lost in Sunday strikes when an air raid alert interrupted, sending people to seek shelter. Take a look.
I ran over there immediately. My 2 colleagues were lying on the ground and I wasn't allowed to see them. They removed their bodies. I don't know. They were in the shop when the first explosion happened. They went back out when the second explosion happened. One of them was 30 years old. She was our confectioner, Yulia. She had 2 children. She was a very beautiful woman, very soulful, nice. The other was a 40-year-old. She was a cook. We still cannot believe that our colleagues were killed. After I saw them yesterday just lying there, I was hysterical. Everyone is posting videos where I'm shouting.
EU foreign ministers are under pressure to tighten the screws on Russia following the devastating attack on the Ukrainian city of Sumy. The officials are currently meeting in Luxembourg to consider their options. Our Europe correspondent Alex Cadier has been following the talks. Good afternoon, Alex. Good to see you. So what could ministers do to ramp up the pressure on Russia?
Good afternoon. Well, several options available to them, but 2 of them certainly blocked by Hungary at this point. One would be a fresh package of sanctions. We understand that behind the scenes, the 17th package of sanctions is being prepared, and it's in its very early stages. Well, one of the things being considered is to speed up that process to get that new round of sanctions against Russia brought up quicker to further hinder Russia's ability to finance this full-scale invasion of Ukraine. One thorn in the side of the EU and the 26 member states on this particular issue will be Viktor Orban's Hungary, who has pledged time and again to at least frustrate, if not block, new sanctions for Russia. Another option, the EU is holding 210 billion euros worth of frozen Russian assets right here in Belgium, seized by sanctions at the start of the full-scale invasion. A lot of countries are pushing for those funds to be used either to fund weapons for Ukraine or to fund Ukraine's reconstruction, taking that money as a penalty for Russia's war crimes. Those are the 2 EU options. A third, of course, is putting pressure on the US to do more, and that is what we heard from Radoslaw Sikorski, the Polish foreign minister, at this meeting. Let's have a listen.
I just want to say how appalled I am by the latest spate of Russian attacks on Ukraine. Ukraine unconditionally agreed to a ceasefire over a month ago. The heinous attacks on Kryvyi Rih and on Sumy is Russia's mocking answer. I hope that President Trump, the US administration, see that the leader of Russia is mocking their goodwill, and I hope the right decisions are taken. Thank you.
Radoslaw Sikorski there saying that this attack by Russia, mocking President Trump and his administration, trying to leverage Poland's position as a close US ally to try and influence the goings-on in Washington, D.C. So that is one option, but the question there is, what will Donald Trump do? For the EU countermeasures and responses, the question is, will member states overrule Viktor Orban or allow him to keep frustrating the process? That we will see in a matter of weeks.
Alex Gadi reporting from Brussels. Thank you. In an interview for American broadcaster CBS on Sunday, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said Ukraine is ready to purchase 10 US-made Patriot air defense systems for $15 billion to shield densely populated cities from ongoing Russian missile and drone attacks. Zelenskyy said he had made the offer directly to US President Donald Trump and previously raised it with former President Joe Biden's administration. In addition to the purchase, he has also requested licenses to produce the systems domestically. Despite a partial US-brokered ceasefire on March 11th, Russian attacks have persisted, killing dozens in recent strikes all across the country, including Kryvyi Rih, where 9 children were killed. Zelenskyy stressed Ukraine's urgent need for stronger air defenses, but said that Ukraine is willing to accept a full ceasefire if Russia reciprocates. Russia's spring conscription campaign is well underway, with 160,000 18 to 30-year-olds expected to join the country's military. In the town of Gachina near St. Petersburg, young conscripts posed for pictures next to a memorial for those who lost their lives in the Afghan and Chechen wars. Relatives of those who'd signed up could be seen wiping tears from their eyes. Russian authorities have repeatedly said that conscripts would not be sent to the war in Ukraine. This year, Russia has increased by 10,000 the number of men it wants to recruit in the draft campaign, which runs from April 1st to July 15th. Last September, President Vladimir Putin ordered the size of Russia's regular army to be increased by 180,000 troops to 1.5 million active servicemen. The move would make it the second largest in the world after China. Ahead of the 4th Albania-EU Intergovernmental Conference in Brussels, discussions focused on advancing Albania's EU integration and opening of negotiations on Cluster 2. This cluster covers areas like free movement, company law and consumer protection. Here is what Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama and European Council President Antonio Costa had to say.
It is a very, very important event in general, but it has a particular importance at this moment in time. And of course, about the region, to which the President is very specially dedicated. And so there is a lot to discuss, but overall I'm very, very encouraged by these developments, and we are very committed to fulfill all the duties of the calendar, very ambitious, to close all the negotiations within 2027.
The enlargement to the Western Balkans is a clear political priority for the European Union, is our real commitment with the region, and is the most important geopolitical investment to peace, for prosperity, and for stability in our continent. And it's really encouraging to see the progress made by Albania in this path. And today we are opening a new cluster, and our ambition is to open more cluster negotiations during this year, because we have a very concrete schedule and we want to deliver. And this is very important for the European Union.
The third conference of the European Space Agency is underway in Warsaw. The discussions will focus on the outlook for building a resilient and robust Europe-wide space industry. Zuzanna Jurek is on site and has this report.
Monday marks the start of the third European Space Agency's conference, taking place here at the Royal Castle in Warsaw. Among some of the attendees, we expect to see Anders Fogh Rasmussen, the former NATO Secretary General, as well as Krzysztof Paszyk, the current Polish Minister for Economic Development and Technology. Now, amongst the key topics of discussions are the financing mechanisms which are necessary for the deployment of space and security sectors within the EU, as well as some of the innovations, including AI technologies, which might be used in future applications. This conference is, of course, taking place as part of Poland's rotating presidency of the EU Council. When Poland took over the presidency in January of this year, it took it under the motto of Security Europe. As part of this conference aims to highlight the critical role of space and emerging technologies, as well as governance and financial frameworks necessary in shaping European security landscapes in the years to come. For TVP World, Zuzanna Jurek.
And with this, we conclude this news bulletin. The bottom line coming up next.